Isn't it time you stepped up and took control of your health? This is Dr. Tom Roselle. Join me on September 17th at the Fairview Park Marriott Hotel in Falls Church, Virginia, for a day that will change your health forever. Special guest Ann Abernathy, known as Grandma Luge, a 6-time Olympic athlete and oldest ever to compete, will be there to motivate you and show you how to take control of your life and put your health in your hands. Don't wait. Register today at rosellecare.com or call 703-698-7117.
Dr. Tom Roselle live right now, 630 WMAL.
Welcome to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle. I am live in studio on this absolutely somewhat beautiful but potentially gorgeous Labor Day. Here to answer your calls at 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to you on any subject that you have in mind. Perhaps you've had a problem, you've tried, you've applied. Well, this is your opportunity to get it done the right way, without drugs, without surgery. That's why I'm here. That's why we do this program, to give you options, to let you know that you, in fact, are control of your own health and destiny, that your health is a do-it-yourself program, that you are in the driver's seat. So 888-630-9625. You know what? We're 2 weeks away from our keynote event. Ageless Health 2011 is almost here in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, the 17th, and after that, it'll be in the history books again, and we'll be planning for next year. But this year is a blockbuster. It is going to be one of the most unbelievable, fantastic venues, events that we've put together ever. And we've been doing this, I think we're in the 12th or 13th year of this. Those of you who've come in the past know that it's very high-toned, that you're going to come away learning all types of things that you hadn't even thought about. And why Ageless Health? You know, that is a question that's been asked to me several times. Why did we call it Ageless Health? Why did I call my book Ageless Health 101, Health is a Do-It-Yourself Program? The truth of it is this. Ageless Health is your birthright. You should be able to live your life in good health without any intervention. See, we are an effect, and the application of that end product is truly what we do, how we expose ourselves, and we decided to put together this program and a book called Ageless Health to give you the tools, to give you the capacity, to give you the direction to be able to achieve that end product, ageless well-being, the capacity to live longer, but not only live longer, but live vibrantly, to live with capacity, to live with energy, to be able to do what you want to do every day of your life. And that's not just, a fantasy. That's not just something that we can dream about. That's something that's achievable. That's why I'm in practice. That's why I try to encourage you. I try to promote you. I try to get you to do the things that you need to do, the choices that you have to make to do things well. So subsequently, Ageless Health was developed a whole bunch of years ago. And not next Saturday, but Saturday the 17th at the Fairview Park Marriott Hotel, we are going to be doing a program that is really going to turn you on to your life, to allow you to take control, to flip the switch, and all kinds of things relative to vitamins and nutrients that if you take them and you make sure you're getting them in your diet, and not necessarily just by taking a pill, but in your foods will make you healthy and give you energetics. We're going to tell you things that you need to avoid to really prolong your life and sustain your immunological factors. We live in a world of radiation today. We've seen things happen, unfortunately, like Japan, and there's other things you don't even know about, but our bodies are being exposed, and we're going to teach you how to protect yourself from that. And in the realm of healthcare reform, as this government, this administration wants to put upon us, what I want you to know is that you really don't need anybody except yourself to keep you healthy. And when you start thinking that it's somebody else's job other than yours, big mistake. Huge mistake. You've got to change things now. So I'm going to encourage you to register, and I'm going to give you a couple reasons that you need to today. Seating is coming to a conclusion, and registration's coming to a conclusion pretty quickly. But you know what? I'm going to encourage you to register, and I'm going to encourage you to register very shortly, and we'll talk about that as we go on. But we're talking about Ageless Health. We're also getting a whole bunch of you calling in right quickly here, so we're going to jump onto that. But you know what? Achieving physical immortality. What does that really mean to you? Does that mean that we live forever? Well, many of you know that energetics continue, from one form to the other. But what does really achieving physical immortality mean to you? Well, in genetic engineering today, that's the goal. They're trying to figure out ways that unless you get shot or you're in an accident or something else happens to you, that we're going to do away with all the diseases, we're going to do away with all the things and extend the time clock. And they're doing this in laboratory animals, and what they're really learning is that the gene, the genetic code, the programming that we put into our system is what really controls health and longevity. And we want to talk about that. Older or younger, it doesn't make any difference. It's the expression of your genes that allows you to have health. Skeptics question whether aging can be conquered. And in some situations, we know that we can extend life. I had a great aunt that I met many years ago, and she was 100 years old when she passed away. And she lived and worked and cooked and did and had her mind until one night she closed her eyes, she went to sleep, and she didn't wake up. I have a patient who has a mother who's 105 and lives in Paris, and she does well. And it goes on. We can give you story after story of people who are able to seemingly beat the odds. The differences in gene expression of longevity and health is simply looking at what happens as you age, what causes the body to begin to break down. In simple terms, almost all the processes in our bodies work better, seemingly, right, when you're young, when you're in your teens and your 20s and things get really, really great. And then some of us make it with really good health until we're 50, and then we look at these people who seem to get old really soon, and then some people seem to stay young forever. Jack LaLanne, he died at 95 years old and was the image of what health should be for somebody that is aging. But even Jack did things that he could have probably improved upon and lasted a little longer. But here's the situation. We're learning more and more about what we can do to control our health expression. That's what Ageless Health is all about, and that's what we're going to be doing on the 17th. We're going to teach you how to control your health expression. And what would it mean to you if you knew how to not only stall time and stay strong, but to reverse things? And the truth of it is, as long as you're breathing, your body has the capacity to reverse the process. We have this ongoing exposure of structural, chemical, emotional stresses that allow the body to break down. And if we do it the right way, it explodes our energetics. We control, we exert, in many cases, how our genes react to the process of years going by. Now, you notice I didn't say age or aging. It's the process of time. See, we have this life cycle right now that seems to be within a certain limit, but the truth of it is geneticists are starting to learn that there's a whole lot more to it than what meets the understanding that we have. 888-630-9625, 888-630-WMAL. That's how we talk to each other today. Just want you to know that. But again, let's talk about Ageless Health, what we're going to be talking about on the 17th, because that's important to you. And I want you to know that my staff and I have dedicated ourselves to turning the process around for you, to be able to give you what is necessary to step up. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today and what you can do. I'm going to give you things that you need to have an understanding about. Scientists, researchers, doctors, in today's world recently have realized what we've been talking about for years, but it's becoming public knowledge, that foods and nutrients and, certain types of herbs and so forth that make us healthier do so simply because they induce the expression, the promotion, if you will, of health expressive genes, and they reduce the expression of disease-promoting genes. Isn't that something? That's an interesting thought that we all have to think about. So what I just said is that there are things that promote health, and there are things that demote health in our genetic structure. So if we learn how to control that and realize that there's only three things that do that, structural, chemical, and emotional stresses, that we already have one leg up in stopping the shortening of the telomere, which is really all about gene expression and our health expression and so forth. Researchers today argue about the damage to the body and how most children, are healthier than their counterparts as adults. And as we get older, we see that youthfulness begin to decline. Well, youthful gene expression enables children to maintain a great state of health, generally, unless they've been predisposed to something, until the bad genes or bad gene expressions overwhelm the good ones. Kind of an interesting, this is what happens, and it's a balancing act, and subsequently we end up with pathological aging or degeneration. So how do we do that? How do we make a difference? How do we begin to change things? Well, achieving, and I don't use the word physical immortality lightly. I use it in a way to express to you that you can be a whole lot better relative to the amount of time that you have on this planet, but also the quality of health that you have. Older and younger people demonstrate significant differences in gene expression. And for us, we have to figure out how we can reclaim some of that youthful expression. Restoring youthful gene expression may help turn back the clock on aging and potentially expand our life. Well, we know we can do that with nutrients. We know that we can do that with environment. We know that we can do that with the way that we think. Environmental influences like diet and exercise dramatically, strongly influence gene expression and longevity. Going back to our friend Jack LaLanne, think about him for a minute. What did he do? He exercised every day. He ate. One time he was asked, he said, Jack, do you ever cheat on your exercise? He said, never. Do you ever cheat on your diet? He says, once in a while. He said, do you have a glass of wine? He said, of course I do. I'm French. Well, the body's forgiving in certain things. It also has to do with what your head does relative to all these things. And I exercise. I do things for me. I do Tai Chi, and I stretch, and I do some walking, and I exercise to keep my body the way it needs to be, so I can do the work that I'm here to do, so I can help you. But Ageless Health, when I wrote the book, Ageless Health, Health is a Do-It-Yourself program, I wrote it with you in mind. I wanted you to have a manual to be able to turn your life around, to be able to guide you, to be able to promote your health, but also as a springboard, as kind of a twin to our seminar, Ageless Health 101. And this year, we're basically talking about the program as the ultimate solution to America's healthcare crisis. And what that really means is that we want to give you the capacity, we want to give you the ability to change anything about your health, and that's what we do every year. And the presentations are powerful. We're going to be talking about nutrition and how to change the genetic mock-up. We're going to talk about your structural integrity, the neurological system, and how to fix your immune system. We're going to be talking about acupuncture and energetics and what that really means in the system. We're going to talk about exercise. We're going to talk about all the nuances that you can take away the very next day and make a huge, huge difference. Now, if you want to know more about the seminar, I want you to go online, go to rosellecare.com, that's ROSELLECARE.com, or go and call us. Pick up your phone and call 703-698-7117. Ask for Holly or ask for Dareth, and they'll send you an application. They'll tell you about the seminar. But here's something that we're going to do, and I want you to stay tuned, because when we come back after the break, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that, but we're also going to tell you about a special drawing that you'll be able to have lunch with Ann Abernathy, Grandma Luge, and myself, and learn some things kind of on a knee-to-knee that you wouldn't know about otherwise. We're talking about Ageless Health today. We're going to get into some of the physical things and biochemical things that you can do that I will give you today, so you can begin to make that change. You can live longer, live well, live stronger.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live continues now on 630 WMAL.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We are in studio, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to you. Any subject that you have in mind. We're talking about Ageless Health in our upcoming September 17th seminar and why you should be there. And I promise you, you're going to go away with information and application and the ability to change your life if you do what we tell you to do the very next day. You will turn things around and have a quality that perhaps you never even thought about, energy that you thought was long gone, the ability to do in your life things that you thought were over with. September the 17th at the Fairview Park Marriott Hotel in Falls Church, Virginia. It's right off the National Capital Beltway. I mean, it's just right there. You need to come. It's inexpensive. You're going to get lunch. You're going to get all kinds of gifts. You're going to be put into a drawing of for $1,000 of integrative health care, wellness care. You're going to meet a very wonderful woman by the name of Ann Abernathy, Grandma Luge, 6-time Olympian. This woman is phenomenal. She's just unbelievable. The energy. Do you know this lady had a problem, and after her 4th Olympiad, she had an injury, and she was told she would never, ever compete again. And it was a brain injury, and not only was she able to come back from it, but she did compete again. And the story she's going to tell you and what happened on the last Olympian in 2006, it is mind-boggling. It's humbling. She is one of the most dynamic and powerful people that I've had the pleasure of meeting in my life, and many of you know me. I've met a lot of folks out there. September the 17th, you've got to be there. Now, here's the deal. Today is Sunday. Okay, tomorrow is Labor Day. And you've got a couple more days after that and another week after that to register. But I'm going to tell you, you need to register by Wednesday, and here's why. If you register by Wednesday, get online. Those of you who are already registered, by the way, are included in this. But if you register, because we're cutting it off this week, not registration, but we're cutting off this. Anne has gifted to you, for those of you who register by Wednesday, you will be put into a drawing. And 2 of you will be picked to have lunch with Anne and to have a knee-to-knee with her if you register by Wednesday. So get on the phone, call our office at 703-698-7117. That's 703-698-7117 and register. Leave a message. Tell them that, today is Sunday and you're calling to register. My staff will call you back. Or go online right now to rosellecare.com. That's ROSELLECARE.com and register online, and we will obviously lock it in. You're going to be put into a drawing to have lunch with Anne. It's an inexpensive day. You're going to come back with so much. I want you there. It's going to be an amazing time. Let's go to the phones. Lisa, thank you for waiting so long. How can I help you?
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, I was inquiring about nodular mucosa.
Okay.
If you could explain what that is
to
me and what can be done about it.
Okay, nodular mucosa gets its name, Lisa, from, first of all, what it looks like. It's in the distal portion or the last portion of the small intestine. It looks like cobblestones. The tissue of the mucosa, looks like these irregular cobblestone types of things in pink tissue, right, meaning the intestinal tract. And it's a predisposition to Crohn's disease, and also, and many of the authors will talk about its early stages of intestinal cancer. It's not super common, but what we've noticed is that it usually was patients who are highly gluten sensitive, are otherwise grain sensitive as well, that their intestinal tract isn't working the way it's supposed to. They end up with or predisposed to something called permeable intestinal tract. That means that either through allergies or toxins, particularly toxic levels, the intestinal area becomes irritated. Heliobacter, which is a really nasty bacterium, is known to cause ulcers in the stomach lining, can cause irritation into the intestinal lining as well. And so you look at the really bad bacteria, look at the state of the environment of the intestinal tract, you look at the patient's diet, you look at their allergy reactions, and you deal with that. And in any situation, not just we can call this nodular mucosa, but as I said, it's named because of its the way it looks and the way it presents itself, but it's a breakdown. It's a highly toxic sensitivity reaction that is causing degeneration of the intestinal lining and predisposes itself to further problems, as we said, like Crohn's and cancer. Now, to turn that around, we've got to do those things that we talked about, and we have to change diet, we have to use supplementation, and so forth. If it's progressed to the place where it is a cancer, that's a different story. Then we have to, work with, medical people to figure out what the best next step is. But again, supportive of that, there's much that can be done to restoring neurological integrity and biochemical balance within the intestinal tract.
Is there medication that can be taken?
No, it's not medication, Lisa. You've got to look at it by you have to do dietary control. Absolutely. You have to balance energetics, maybe with acupuncture and laser. You have to detox the system. You have to restore normal bacterial function. So if we can help you, Lisa, please give us a call.
What type of doctor would...
You can call our office. You can start on our nutrition department, and we can refer you from that point on. Lisa, thank you for your call. We've got a break for news. It's one of those situations that you can help dramatically, and the body is capable of healing almost anything.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live continues now on 630 WMAL.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. Yes, I am. I am live in studio on Labor Day Sunday, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to you. We're talking about Ageless Health, my favorite subject, trying to keep all of us on this planet healthfully a very, very long time. The capacity to do what we want to do, to live strongly, to live vibrantly, to have the energy to step up to the plate, if you will, and get it all done. Ageless Health 2011 is going to be September the 17th, 2 weeks from yesterday, and time is running short, so we want to encourage you to make sure that you register, and you can do that by going to rosellecare.com. That's ROSELLECARE.com, or call our office, 703-698-7117. And as I said, those of you who register, as well as everybody else has registered up until now, if you register by this coming Wednesday, you will be entered into a special drawing to have lunch with Ann Abernathy. We are going to provide an organic lunch, and you will have the opportunity. There's only going to be 2 of you, by the way, that's going to be picked, just 2 people. But you have to register by Wednesday, because then you're not in the drawing. You're not going to be eligible to sit and have lunch with her. So if you would like to have lunch with Ann and ask her some questions, then you have to do that by this Wednesday. So go online, rosellecare.com, or 703-698-7117, and be our guest. We are going to enjoy this day. It is a powerful day. It's one of the things that I look forward to the entire year, to try to give you as much data information, to meet with you, to talk with you, to present this information. It starts out early, and we go all day long, and it's jam-packed, and we're going to teach you how to exercise as you guys are registering, and as you're getting into the place, it's going to be on stage. You can watch some exercise demos. I set the stage for the rest of the event. I'm going to be teaching you about Ageless Health, and then Sue's going to be on, and she's going to talk about diet and gene expression, and we're going to talk about neurological pathways and things. All this is about stuff you can do for yourself, hands-on things. And then Ann Abernathy is going to speak to you, and she's going to motivate you, and she's going to show you how to look forward to things. Listen, when you hear this woman's story and you realize that anybody else would have given up years ago, let alone go back and compete again in the Olympics, it's amazing. It's like, I have no problems at all ever when I hear what this woman's got to say. Register. You've got to do it. Thermography Centers of Fairfax will be one of our vendors. You'll get a chance to speak with them. You'll be able to talk to Dareth. She'll be there, Dareth Painter, 703-943-7247, I think, 748. I'll tell you in 2 seconds, because you know what? The brain is not working well right now with numbers. 48. I was right. I shouldn't ever question myself. I know these things, right? Our number here is 888-630-9625. Let's go to the phones. Diane, how can I help you?
Yes, about a year ago, I was diagnosed with polycythemia vera. I'm currently being treated with hydroxyurea and phlebotomy. And I just...
Also known as bloodletting, yes. Go ahead.
Yes. And I just think that there must be something that I could be adding that is natural to be helping my condition.
And it's not so much of adding, it's understanding the problem. And as you know, it's a disorder that has to do with the bone marrow.
Yes.
And that you're making way too many red blood cells. And I know I'm being redundant, but I want our listeners to understand too.
Yes.
And it makes the blood really, really thick, and the problem is manyfold in that it sets the stage for things that are deadly, like thrombophlebitis and throwing clots, and the condition also can be associated with uglier things like gouty arthritis and bacterial infections within the intestinal lining. There's a release of histamine, which is an inflammatory agent within the body that seems to be related to polycythemia. And, there are symptoms that show up. Sometimes there's no symptoms whatsoever until one day you go to the doc and he draws your blood and your red blood cell counts up through the ceiling. But you can have burning in your hands and your feet, and there's if it gets really high, there's a discoloration of the skin that almost sometimes looks bluish. But it's the stickiness of these platelets that are the problem, and they can get in, they start clogging things up. Traditionally, some physicians will just put you on aspirin and some other blood thinners. Some of them are using corticosteroids, which make matters worse over a period of time. So to answer your question, to get away from the chemotherapy that they want to use and the bloodletting, and at one point they thought, well, we're going to do bone marrow transplants, but the problem is that obviously it is, polycythemia polycythemia vera is not fatal by itself. The risk of bone suppression and immune function suppression is not a cool thing relative to risk-wise. So things that will you have to understand the mechanism. So the first thing you have to look at is what's going on that's causing the body to respond, what is causing the bone marrow to respond. A integrative care physician is going to start looking at environmental things. They're going to start looking at exposures. They're going to start looking at toxicities. The liver is significantly involved in this. So you would look at that. You would see if there's any kind of immunological response that's going on to toxins and allergens and so forth, which can be desensitized in our experience. But to substitute, aspirin is what they give. You can use fish oils, in my opinion, more effectively. You can use a specific form of vitamin E, which is the succinate form of vitamin E. You have an acetate form, you have other forms, but the succinate form is the one that's been used significantly with cardiovascular problems or any kind of blood thickening types of problems. It was first done by two medical researchers in Toronto, Ontario, by the name of Shute, S-H-U-T-E. But there's, to say that you can do X, Y, or Z and control it, there's a deeper understanding of the problem. Interesting. The disease is more common in people of Jewish extraction, and why that is, I don't know. You can go to the Mediterranean, and there's problems with Tay-Sachs, and there's problems with Mediterranean sprue and so forth, and all these things come from that area. Again, I would, I'm talking about a condition that is there's no one thing that you can say take this, except there are several things that you can take that will keep the blood thin without having to do some of these other things. You're not my patient. I don't know your problem specifically, so I'm not going to advise you to do to do this. But the way that we would approach it is to find out more about what your immune system is doing, and we would look at it from exposures, heavy metals. We would look at it from bacterium that's gotten in your system. We would look at it relative to allergens and toxicities that have happened, the integrity of your intestinal tract, and also injury that has occurred to the bone tissue. There's ways in applied kinesiological procedures to bring out old bone injury. It's called bone memory, and that can often show you things that wouldn't be shown otherwise. So I'm not hedging. I'm just telling you it's not a straight-up situation. Does that make sense to you at all?
It makes a lot of sense, and I really appreciate your taking the time to explain it.
Diane, you're welcome, and if I can help you in any way at all, you can get hold of me at rosellecare.com and send me a note, and I'll go back and forth with you. Or, if you'd like to come in and consult with one of us, make an appointment.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome, Diane. Thank you for calling. 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to you. We're talking about Ageless Health, which is our seminar, 17th September, next week. Please be there. I promise you it's a day that you will not forget. It's a day that is going to make you responsible. It's going to empower you. It's going to make you the captain of the ship, so to speak. It's going to take and change your life if you're willing to change it, if you're willing to apply the principles of it. You go in and you can read our website, and it's going to tell you what people have said about the program. And, it's phenomenal. They're finally believers and all of that stuff. And the truth of it is, it works. And whether it's the things that we do for you in our practice, or the information that we give you, or the directions that we point you to, your health really is a do-it-yourself program. And that's what we try to empower each and every one of you with. Try to get you to understand that with little shifts in your thought process, little shifts in your day-to-day application, little shifts in how you do things, that life can be very, very different for you. There's no reason to suffer the levels that people suffer without knowing that there is a way by your hands, your own hands, to turn things around. In the news recently, a tremendous tennis star that we're all familiar with, Venus Williams, has been diagnosed with something called Sjogren's syndrome. Sjogren's syndrome, for many people, is very deadly. It's devastating. It's impairing minimally. And the medical approach generally is using steroids to suppress the body. The hands stiffen. The body system begins to dry out. The body is in a lot of pain. And it's treatable without drugs. We have we have an employee in our practice. Many of you know, and I won't tell you who it is on air, but many of you know who this is, that came to me 10 years ago with Sjogren's. And her physician told her that she had maybe 5 years to live because her body was breaking down. Her adrenal system was going down the tubes. And when she came to me, she was on many medications. She was on steroids. She had all kinds of problems. And they told her that, it wasn't going to be fun. And she came in, and as you know, I can be pretty straight in your face. And I said, look, do what I tell you to do. And your body will begin to express itself differently. So she did what I told her to do, not without argument. Trust me, it was with a lot of argument. And time went on, and she got stronger, and she got off her medications, and she got better. And 10 years later, now she works for me. And she's one of the go-to people in our office to help you, keep you focused in the things that you need to get done. Sjogren's and many other immunological processes can be helped. They can be supported. They can give you the ability to take control again. Trust me, everything that happens is a result of things that we eat, things that we absorb into our bodies, things that we're exposed to, things that we have done and do to ourselves as far as activity and injuries, or not taking care of ourselves and not supporting ourselves physically the way we're supposed to. It's about the way you run your brain, the way you think. You've all heard the expression, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're absolutely positively right. Well, the body reacts that way. Your body does not know the difference between an actual something that happens to it and something that you emotionalize or think about. The effect is the same. Geneticists know that today. They know that when you emotionalize something, you change your genetic code. They know that when you have a high emotional anything that the body begins to shift, either for the good or for the bad. Trust me, this is something that makes total sense if you step back from the plate. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about cortisol, because that's really the pathological killer for so many of us, and we don't even realize it. But before we do that, Cliff, how can I help you? Thank you for calling.
I've got a enlarged prostate, and I've taken all the naturopathic stuff that I know to take, salt, palmetto, and all that stuff, and now my doctor's giving me some tamsulosin.
Yep.
Which I'm taking the maximum dosage of that, and he tells me my only solution to the problem is
surgery.
Roto-Rooter. Yeah.
Okay, so let me. We've got less than a minute, so let me give you a couple ideas. First, quick yes or no. Have you changed your diet at all?
No.
Okay, so you want to get rid of anything that is going to cause further inflammation, because that's what PSA, prostate-specific antigen, is. It's a measure of inflammatory response to the prostate. And you want to eat all kinds of vegetables. You want to get to fish, chicken, or turkey. You want to get rid of the wheat grains out of your diet. You get your starchy grains from brown rice, particularly, or the Indian red and black rices. Don't fry anything. And that begins the process. There's some supplements. You want to get fish oils in your body, but high quality, good stuff. Zinc, particularly zinc sulfate. The prostate, the dry weight of the prostate is 50% zinc, Cliff. And as we get older, that goes down. Cliff, don't go away. I want to pick this back up.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live continues now on 630 WMAL.
This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. I've been in studio at 888-630-WMAL, taking your phone calls and trying to support you in your quest for better health and longevity. Ageless Health 2011, coming up September the 17th. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that. Cliff, you still there?
Yep.
Thank you, sir, for holding. Listen, I want to give you some more data, and so just hang on 2 seconds here. What I said to you before we broke is that when you are exposed to the wrong things in the body, what happens, inflammatory levels go high, and so subsequently you get the symptoms of benign hypertrophy, the urinary frequency at nighttime, the discomfort in the lower pelvic area, and it goes on. But you know that, and most of our listeners who are male know it and are scared to death. But here's the deal. It has a lot to do with the body losing certain nutrients. When cortisol, which is one of the things I was going to talk about, the cortisol levels get high, inflammatory levels go through the ceiling, the prostate becomes inflamed and swollen. We start losing things like zinc and selenium. If we're not getting enough antioxidants in fish oils and things of that nature, it swells even more. So you got to lower the stress in the system. You got to decrease the cortisol level. There's a interesting herb called rhodiola that we use as an adaptogenic to alter prostate function, or not prostate function, but cortisol function. But more importantly, when you combine saw palmetto in the liquid form with the liquid form of echinacea and zinc and fish oils, it seems to have a very, very, very good effect. Also, high levels of B12, the hydroxy form of B12 with folic acid, 2 parts of B12 to 5 parts folic acid. Now, none of what I'm telling you is going to hurt you in any way, but it can do a dramatic shift in what's going on with you. But you got to change the diet. If you don't change the diet and you don't get the sugar, sodas, coffee, teas, fast food, fried foods, alcohol, gluten, preservatives, additives, and so forth out of your diet, then it's going to be a problem. But you also need to do a hormone test, a saliva hormone test, to find out what your good testosterones and your bad testosterones and your estrogens, your estradiols, because we've got those as men, but they have to be buffered like women with progesterone. So we've got to see what that is, otherwise the prostate starts enlarging. Cliff, I'm sorry, that's all I have time for. It's actually a subject we could talk about the rest of the day. I appreciate your phone call. And, hey, join us at Ageless Health or come into the office and be more than happy to help you in any possible way that we can. Ageless Health coming up, and again, I encourage you to please be there with us. It's a day that you will never forget. It's a day that can change your life forever. And remember, if you register by this coming Wednesday, you will be entered in a drawing to have lunch with Ann Abernathy. this Wednesday, the 7th, and the seminar is on the 17th. So get online, go to rosellecare.com. That's ROSELLECARE.com. Or call us, 703-698-7117, and register and be there and get your life to change. I promise you I'd talk to you a little about cortisol because it has to do with aging. Cortisol is a hormone that your adrenal glands, your fight-flight system produces. We've talked about it repetitively, incessantly on this program. And when we're under stress, whether we have an infection or emotional stress or physical stress or whatever, cortisol goes up, blood pressure goes up, blood sugar goes up, all of them. And these changes help us survive. You know, it helps us fight the tiger. But it's only supposed to be for short periods of time. But most of us are under stress for years, and it just doesn't break up. And so what happens is our immunity goes down the tubes. We end up with high blood pressure. Our blood sugars start going into a reactive pattern. First they go low, then they go high. We become insulin resistant. We can't transport blood sugars to uterus, so we feel like garbage. Carbohydrates and salt, we start craving them. We want them, and then we start putting fat on. We end up with something called metabolic syndrome and more adult onset type 2 diabetes. We start seeing these fat deposits on our neck and our face and our neck and our belly, you know, the low stuff in our belly. It's all due to cortisol. And then our libido, you know, that sexual desire for another human being goes out the window. It's gone. It's not there. And then we end up with bone loss and osteoporosis. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and it's responsible for many long-term side effects of all kinds of problems. And, you know, if you get it under control, if you really understand, which we're going to be doing at Ageless Health, you get to sleep better, your immunity goes up, you get to live longer, your organ systems work better. Wouldn't it be great? Be there with us, September the 17th. I promise you a day you will never forget, a day that will change your life forever. You've been listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. I'm here every Sunday, 12 noon, trying to bring you the most up-to-date information possible. See you next week. Bye. Health is a do-it-yourself program. That's reality and the title of my new book. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. Health is a do-it-yourself program is a most understandable introduction to natural health care. My book will take you step by step through why the body breaks down and gets sick, but also how it repairs itself. You will finally understand the often confusing world of natural care. Order it today by going to Amazon.com or from our website, RoselleCare.com. That's RoselleCare.com.
Did you know that routine mammograms can increase radiation exposure to breast tissue 1,000 times over a chest X-ray? Now consider a simple, non-invasive, and totally safe medical procedure approved by the FDA since 1982 that can detect breast cancer 5 to 8 years before it can be visualized on a mammogram. Infrared thermographic imaging can accurately detect the initial signs of breast cancer as increased blood supply and metabolic rate, which is recorded as heat. Why expose yourself to radiation when accurate and safe medical detection is available? Call the Thermography Center of Fairfax to schedule a breast exam today at 703-948-7248. That's 703-943-7248. For more information, visit www.thermographyscan.net. That's thermographyscan.net for the Thermography Center of Fairfax.
The Roselle Center for Healing is a proud supporter of breast cancer awareness and reminds you to conduct a monthly breast self-examination and a thermographic breast scan as part of your annual wellness checkup.